Let's get physical. It's Jordan here, back in with this week's update. All the physical releases coming to the Switch. We're in the final week of September. What the hell? We're taking a look at the 26th until the 30th. And if you thought last week was busy, I tell you what, in 3 years of making these videos every week for you guys, this has probably been the most difficult one to research. Not because it's been so much, but just because information has been absolutely all over the place. For different regions, different websites saying different things. I don't know, it's a bit of a mess, but it's also a bit of a monster, so strap in. Bayonetta is finally getting a physical release in the West. Yes, this physical of the original Bayonetta was only released in Japan, and then it was only in a very rare collector's edition that cost hundreds of dollars these days. So yeah, very nice that this physical of the first game is getting a chance to be owned by more people. Considered to be an all-time classic balls to the wall action with the attitude and sass to match. This is the perfect release to get in the mood for the upcoming third game very soon. Let's hope for an almost perfect trilogy. For what it's worth, I'm not sure where this has been sold in Europe. The handful of stores that I checked, I couldn't actually see it. But I'm pretty sure I didn't dream it up. I hope. And our executive producer, Punky Dooster, has chosen this as his pick of the week. And remember, if you are in North America and any of the retail games mentioned in this week's episode take your fancy, then there are purchase links below in the description for each of them. You can support us with our new partnership with Video Games Plus, who, after watching last week's episode and also the response from you guys and your support, they were pretty happy. They decided to change their policy to give us cash instead of in-store credit, so that's good. Thanks for that. Now maybe just up that affiliate earnings a little bit. FIFA 23 Legacy Edition is releasing on the Switch this week if you fancy wasting a bit of money. Yes, I can't think of anything more unappealing, and I bloody love football. Yeah, I might look like a nerdy weasel, but I do enjoy the art of kicking a pig's bladder around a field. It's a beautiful game, but even I can't stomach buying this because it's just exactly the same game as the one from like 3 or 4 years ago with the squads updated. It's exactly the same. And it also has Kylian Mbappe on the cover, who is well on his way to being the most disliked footballer in history, regardless of obvious talent. So yeah, if you own last year's game, or the year before that, or the one before that, there is literally no need to own this. It's the exact same game, pretty much. The Life is Strange Arcadia Bay Collection is a double pack of Life is Strange games. I believe it's the first game remastered alongside Before the Storm, which is a prequel, a bit shorter. Remember, True Colors is already on the Switch. These are different games. Sorry, I just sound like a really old man. Maybe that's why someone on last week's video commented saying they didn't know if I was 35 or 55. Thanks for the confidence boost. Anyways, I don't know much about these games. I've never played them since I feel I'd need to dye my hair at least a little bit blue first. Not sure there are any flamethrowers for me. It is worth noting that Before the Storm is a download code, not on the cartridge. I wonder if there's a Japanese version coming later that will include everything on the cartridge like it happened with True Colors. The West had a download requirement while Japan did not. And this is our executive producers Viz and Issa's pick of the week. The Legend of Heroes Trails from Zero is a really awesome looking JRPG in the insanely intricate Legend of Heroes series. A series I haven't had the chance to penetrate yet since I genuinely have no idea where to start, and probably don't have a chance to start because they're not all on the Switch. Why aren't they all on the Switch? Anyways, this is a remaster of a PSP game, and you'll find yourself with a supposed fine quality title if you love JRPGs with a great story. And just look at it. You look at those visuals and tell me they don't make you tingle in special places. I love the chunky sprites. The sequel to Zero, called Azure, is coming early next year and are both in a kind of like a duology kind of thing, so while they do connect to the other billion Legend of Heroes games, hopefully they have like their own bubble of a story to tell. I don't know, I'm so tempted to get this one. It looks great. And our executive producers Dane Wilkinson, Instacritic and Santa Tartaruga have chosen this as their pick of the week. Windstorm, Start of a Great Friendship, is releasing in North America this week. I believe this is a release of one of the Windstorm games that's already out in Europe. So yeah, European dudes, don't be so grieved to lose such a fine exclusive. I mean, I could be wrong on this. Horse game enthusiasts, let me know. Is this the same game as the one Europe had? I don't know. Sword Art Online Alicization... I'm gonna call it Lycoris Adventure. Lycoris Adventure! Sorry. This is releasing physically in Europe this week. Well, it should be, but for some reason, Bandai have decided to make it proper difficult to actually track down. It's like they don't want you to buy it. No less so for the fact that this is not releasing in North America, just like the other two Sword Art Online games. It's mental. While they're niche games, they're not exactly some like tiny indie game. They're fairly big RPGs that probably cost a ton to actually localize in English. I don't know what's going on, but while I will say, you're probably not missing out on too much, these are still games you'll want in your collection if you love RPGs. This game's already been out on the PS4 for a while now, but this is the Switch version, and if you're in North America and you want some of this, check the links below for an import version for you. And our executive producer Robotech has chosen this as his pick of the week. Slime Rancher Plortable Edition should be releasing in Europe this week. Remember, I Am 8-Bit handled this in North America on their website. I mean, it's probably out in retail too, but I'm sticking with the Europe version for this one. Anyways, this is a highly acclaimed indie game that everyone raves about. You farm slimes, but in a fun and unique way. Literally, no one says a bad word about this game. Also, the artwork is fabulous. Let's Build a Zoo is maybe releasing this week. I'm a little bit wary about it since it's one of those games where the data's been more slippy than that character from Star Fox. But it is releasing digitally this week, so F it, I'll risk it for a biscuit. That means if it does release, all 10,000 of you have to give me a biscuit. Each. I accept hobnobs, custard creams, bourbons, and digestives with chocolate on top. Also known as the Holy Quadfecta. This game is pretty explanatory and it looks really nice. I love animals, so I love to keep them in cages so I can stare at them and then let people give me money so they can stare at them too. And also sell them overpriced and undercooked hot dogs. This looks great actually. There are 500 animals, but you can splice together DNA to create hundreds of thousands of combos for a laugh. A deer with a flamingo neck. That sounds like a great science project for your 6th grader when that comes around next time. And our executive producers, Precision Plague and Jennifer M, have chosen this as their pick of the week. Hokko Life is another one of the absolutely endless cozy games that are coming out these days. Gaming is so cozy right now, I feel like I'm being suffocated by a giant blanket of coziness. So cozy. I think it's the anticipation of the winter that's coming when, let's face it, everyone's gonna freeze their bollocks off because they can't afford to heat their houses while they're drinking their Starbucks and complaining about the cost of living by tweeting via their iPhone. Put layers on, people! But yeah, if you can't feel cozy physically, then this wave of comfort is coming mentally via video games. I don't know what I'm talking about. Are you cozy enough? Are you? Well, here's more of it with Hokko Life, which is only one letter away from Hobo Life, which is where we're all heading at the end of this year if those energy stuff doesn't calm down. Do you feel like you've learned about this game yet? My Universe, Pet Clinic, Cats and Dogs, Panda Edition is a brand new edition of the legendary fluff game from Microids. Yeah, in addition to sticking needles into your favorite household pets, you can now get the Chinese government on your back by stealing one of their pandas and jabbing it in the arse. Yeah, every single panda on the planet is owned by China and you can pay them $1 million a year to loan one to your zoo. No wonder they've been so dedicated to the conservation. They've been making absolute bankage. It's a conservation miracle, they say. No, it's money. Martian Panic is releasing this week from Funbox Media. It's not one of their pervy games, so that means it must be one of their absolute bottom of the barrel dross releases. I think we've got more things to worry about than an alien invasion. Come on, guys. It was originally a Wii game, a light gun shooter kind of thing, but now it's on the Switch as though anyone was asking for it. I believe this comes with a peripheral of some kind, at least at some retailers, so you can stick your Joy-Cons in there. Airoheart is releasing this week. This is a fabulous looking Zelda wannabe, although perhaps slightly too on the nose about its inspiration since the sprites used here are borderline ripped from A Link to the Past. I mean, dude, copy my homework if you want, but please just change it a little, just a little. I'm surprised they didn't call it The Legend of Zelda. Regardless of a lack of personal artistic direction, the game itself looks rather nice. They're not exactly generous when it comes to showing off the gameplay in the trailer, but it's kind of like mild action. They're not too keen on hyping you up, but I'm getting some good vibes from it. Perhaps wait for reviews first just to make sure, since the publisher has a mixed track record. They have some good gems, but some kind of like money grabs. I'm just more shocked about the digital price. $40 is kind of insane for this kind of game, so it better be good, Sodesco. Come on. And our executive producer Brent McLean has chosen this as his pick of the week. Mozart Requiem is releasing in Europe this week. This actually sneaked out in North America last week, or a couple of weeks ago. Not too much fanfare because Mozart's dead and he can't compose a fanfare for it. This game is supposed to be a bit bobbins. It looks like it was made in the mid-2000s, and that's because it was, but under a different name. It's an adventure game that looks fancy in screenshots, but yeah, it's just a point-and-click game as Mozart gets his Sherlock hat on. Paw Patrol Grand Prix is Outright Games' latest weekly release. Just wait until the run up to Christmas, there's going to be like a dozen a week in November. Anyways, it's Paw Patrol, except they've arrested Mario and his cronies and requisitioned their gameplay mechanics. It is what it is. Expect some harmless fun for kids. Vegas Party is releasing in North America this week. Finally, you North Americans have been waiting a lifetime for this all-time classic. It's already out in Europe, and obviously I'm being facetious, because as cheap crap goes, this is one of the pinnacle. Hell Architect, not sure if this one is releasing this week. It's been a rough research week. Anyways, this is in North America only, I believe. You build and manage your own hell, which is a nice twist on the management sim. Like I said, some say it's releasing this week, some say they have no idea. We'll wait and see. Yuppie Psycho is something that sneaked into a release last week in Europe. I could have mentioned it, but this is one of those games that's had a placeholder for about a year in Europe, so yeah, it did actually release, I just ignored it. VGNY did this in North America. It's a highly rated psychological horror game that I've not actually played, but I'll take people's word for it. It's full of dark humor, surreal visuals, the lot. Check it out. Koh Lanta, le retour des aventuriers is my slightly racist French accent. And yeah, it's a game that I missed last week, but thanks to JP Switchmania for messaging me and bringing it to my attention. This seems to be a France exclusive game that I don't know smeg about, but if you're in France, or you're one of those collectors who needs to eat up every weird release, have a goosey at this one. Alright, let's head into the low prints. Sea Horizon is PlayAsia's latest exclusive physical release in partnership with Eastasiasoft. Yes, this is a partnership one, not their new exclusive line, but anyways, this is part of an ongoing announcement from Eastasiasoft in working with Sophstar, who they worked with on Empire of Angels. I unapologetically love their kind of games, and I'm interested in seeing what the other 3 games are. We'll probably know by the time this video goes out, but all I know of currently is Sea Horizon, which is very much a different kind of game that they usually do. They're usually colorful, charming Taiwanese games, but this is as westernized as they come. If I said to you a roguelike RPG with deck building, you'd think, oh god, not another one. Yeah, not my kind of game really, but it's positively received over on Steam, so I think it will be popular, just not, you know, Eastasiasoft's usual effort, nor is it Sophstar's usual effort. This is just so weird. Why start with this one? I prefer their quirky Asian stuff. Anyways, there's a standard edition as well as a collector's edition, and you can pre-order on Thursday. And if you want to pre-order it, please consider coming back to this video on Thursday, clicking our links, and buying it. It is the best way to support us with our PlayAsia links, because really they are very generous, and this series would not exist without PlayAsia and your support in buying from them. So thank you ever so much. And of course, you can still get 5% off with our current discount code STEENBOK. That is actually running out this week. Yeah, we're saying goodbye to Steenbok. Are you ready? Are you ready to say goodbye to Steenbok? Sophstar is Red Art Games' latest Switch release. Unlike their last 2, this is a smaller scale release with 3,000 copies available at redartgames.com, and also Video Games Plus will carry some copies if you live in North America. Links are below. This is a simple looking retro style vertical shmup that is supposed to be really good. Don't let the simplicity fool you. This is quite highly regarded in the shmup community. If you enjoy NES shmups, you'll definitely enjoy these since it captures what made them fun, made by people who understand the genre. There are 2 editions, although one is probably sold out already. It came with an extra poster. But the normal editions, they're just kind of standard. You get 10% off redartgames.com with SWatch10 if you're in Europe, or if you're in North America, support us via the Video Games Plus links in the description. Thank you very much. Enclave HD was put up for pre-order at Limited Run Games last week. This is a HD port of an old-ass Xbox game, which I vehemently approve of. I love my old-ass Xbox games, especially if they're action RPGs with puzzle elements. I love that kind of jank. I actually have never heard of this game until now, which is strange because I love my Xbox back in the day. So it's something I may look into grabbing from Video Games Plus in the future if they get some stock of it. There is a standard edition as well as a collector's edition available. Oceanhorn 2 is finally getting a physical release, but of course it has to be with Limited Run Games. Yeah, FDG love their Limited Run levies, sadly. Anyways, this is a pretty cool action-adventure game. Again, just like a Zelda, just like the last one was, but they really upped the budget here, at least for what was initially a mobile game, but plays perfectly nice on the Switch. It is a good game and I was impressed by the vast towns. The gameplay itself is okay, not too amazing, but a very commendable experience when it all comes together. Interestingly, while this is being sold separately, you can also buy a bundle with the first game. Yeah, they're reprinting the first game. I just heard the screams of 1,000 scalpers. My investment! They released that game like in the first year of the Switch's life, I think, or something like that. And I have it when I used to buy for Unlimited Run once in a blue moon. So yeah, you can buy Oceanhorn 1 and 2 together, which is nice because it's not the priciest game to get now, but you know, this is definitely more convenient and easier on the wallet. Unless you live in some parts of Europe, at which point Limited Run will still gladly bend you over. And our executive producers God of Resin, Boombox, Thorn Metal Luna and Parsnip Coffee have chosen this as their pick of the week. Alright, the imports. Remember guys, if anything takes your fancy and you'd like to import it for yourself, then consider using the links below in the description and the pinned comment. If you use those links, then it also helps support this series ever so much. PlayAsia is the best way to support us because they are very generous with their affiliates compared to anywhere else, honestly. Plus, you get an awesome game as well. You guys are just wonderful, and please, even though we're partnering with Video Games Plus, please don't stop with PlayAsia because that would be very worrying for this series indeed. But of course, in return for using our links, you can use our discount code STEAMBOK. It's going away. Yes, in October we will have a new discount code, and I don't know what it is yet, but I'm gonna request SW5 for the new code, so yeah, we'll see about that. I'll tell you next week. This week in Asia, we've got Little Witch Nobeta. It's my personal most hyped release this week because I'm a friggin' weirdo. I mean, I only needed like 5 seconds of the trailer to see a third-person shooter starring a witch. I'm on board. Whether it's good or not, that's just irrelevant. You're a cute little witch blasting cute monsters in a castle. Third-person shooting with some close-quarter combat. It's probably going to be put together with glue and sellotape, but I don't care. I really can't wait to play this, and I will play this. Forget Deerfield Chronicle from last week. I ain't got time for that. Legend of Heroes, get out. I've got time for Little Witch Nobeta. This is only releasing physically in Japan and Asia, in both the standard and collector's edition, and it does include English. Go with the Japanese version though, because for some reason it's a lot cheaper. And our executive producers, Vey, Cartoon Soren, and Elissa have chosen this as their pick of the week. Good on ya. Bullet Soul Double Pack is releasing in Japan this week. This is a double pack of classic shmups. You get Bullet Soul and Bullet Soul Infinite Burst. These were originally 360 shmups, now being brought to the best shmup console of all time, the Nintendo Switch. These are both supposed to be very fun and endlessly replayable with plenty of modes to go around. The physical release comes with a special box, soundtrack CD, and booklet. And, best of all, they contain English, so fill your bullet hell boots with that. I think this will be hard to get in the future, so don't miss out. In Japan, they are also going absolutely nuts this week with a bunch of games that mostly don't have English, aside from the last one, which the West already have. Here, have a look at them. I'm not reading them, just look at them. Alright, the community spotlight. Executive producer Elissa sent in this photo showing off the Japanese version of Shredder's Revenge, which comes in a box with a soundtrack CD and acrylic standee for a very reasonable price. A really good alternative. Ray Taylor sent in this picture showing off a few obscure releases. When I see games like SNK Heroines, it just reminds me about how much SwitchWatch has changed over the years, because back then I would review anything and everything. Back when we were slightly boring, but actually growing the channel significantly. Now we've got more interesting and have ground to a halt. But it's okay because I love you guys. Marty Mar picked up this bunch of games. Thanks for using our links to buy some of them. Very much appreciated. A fan of those retro FPS games from Limited Run, I see. Good taste. Doom Guy picked up this bunch of games, actually rather similar to the last photo, but Doom Guy is also appreciating the retro River City Games collection. Some great little retro titles there. Some of the best NES games were from Kunio-kun. Magic Milkman sent in this photo with a couple of games that were either not seen or very rarely seen. Green Hell is from Forever Limited, and Super Life of Pixel was one of Strictly Limited's more random efforts that came and went without much fanfare. Steven Scott sent in this bunch of games showing off the Big Daddy edition of the latest Fire Emblem Warriors games, also Morbid, which is randomly only available in Europe despite being a rather good game. Executive producer Robotech sent in this photo. Many thanks for using our links to pick up some of them. Hoary Hue was a bit of a weird one from Axis, definitely not their usual bag, but it's an interesting genre mix-up. Executive producer Instacritic sent in this photo with some interesting games. It's a miracle Road Redemption is out physically. Good lord. They also received Croylure Sigma, which is one of Red Art Games' more fascinating releases. If you're interested in some anime arena battles, Video Game Plus are also carrying some copies. James Blackwell raided Nicholas's latest reprint Frenzy. You can get these on their website or on Video Games Plus. They are carrying some as well. Be sure to check out the links below. Obscurus Gaming sent in this picture of Trash Sailor, which has some really nice artwork. It looks kind of like a proper tangible art, which I always appreciate, almost like it's a photo of someone's sketch rather than digitized. Executive producer Vay sent in this photo. They got a free CD with No Place for Bravery, which is cool beans because the soundtrack is pretty good. Really good background music if you fancy going on a murderous rampage of goblins. Executive producer Cartoon Soren got in the Otoy reprints from Limited Run with their funky new box art, very nice indeed. Serial Scott got in this bunch of games. Treasures of the Aegean is still available on Limited Run. Last time I checked, it's been there for like half a year now, maybe even more. It's also available on their Amazon store and even Video Games Plus, which is cool because it's actually a decent game. Shlomo got in these games. Nice to see the Diofield Chronicle. Really hope that does well. Haven't seen it much yet, but it's still early days, I suppose. Executive producer Thorn Metal Luna sent in this photo showing off a nice bunch of games. The Centennial Case from Square Enix, a rather obscure import by now, I would say. I think only a handful of you imported it, which I totally understand why. It's pricey, not much of a game, but still kind of interesting. Psych Villain, thank you ever so much for the donation. They picked up the original Dust Diver, which I actually think I prefer to the sequel. It's a surprisingly charming game that tries to punch way above its weight. Alright, let's have a roundup. Starvey, Murky McFlynn, McLaren, Foot Gang, Little Raven, Drew, Robin Hatherall, Joshua Brown, Ty Whittle, Craig Morgan, Richard H, Radio Free Camlin, William Hutchins, Jordan Williams, Choco Loco James. Alright, thank you ever so much. Please send me your pictures on Twitter at SoWhatAboutGame. You can DM me or tag me in a post and use the hashtag Let's Get Physical. Or we have an email address, switchwatchspotlight@gmail.com, and our Discord, where you can send your pictures there in the submission section once I open it up. If you want to join our Discord, the server link is also in the description as well. Please only send me one picture per week. If you send me more than one, it won't end well. Alright guys, thank you ever so much for watching this episode of Let's Get Physical. Special thanks to our executive producers, as always, Dane Wilkinson, God of Resin, Boombox, Brent McLean, Jonathan Rumor, Santa Tartaruga, Alexander Cato, J-Cross7776, Elissa, Punky Dooster, Cartoon Soren, Robotech, Z, Raven Knight, Thorn Metal Luna, Parsnip Coffee, Issa, Vay, Mental Traveler, Grant Sert, Viz, Jennifer M, Instacritic, Precision Plague, and Kadacha. Plus you, yeah, you watching right now. If you watched all the way through, leave me a panda emoji in the comments in honor of all the pandas that will get needles in the arses thanks to my universe. Please go check out some of our stuff. Last week we had, well, I did a lot of content. I did No Place for Bravery, the review. I did a review of the Valis collection, number 2. Go watch that if you want. It's pretty good, I think. I don't know, maybe. And yeah. Check out my new channel, A Bit More Jordan for a lot more me. Currently working on Skies of Arcadia. I didn't play it last week because, yeah, I was really busy last week making content for this. And, of course, VN Paradise. I got a couple of reviews out there last week. The review for Amnesia and Pure Fiore, that's the one. Yes, go watch them. Bye-bye.